As you just saw, the U.S. president hosted African leaders at the White House, and the Chinese president visited Africa this week. Here to talk about both countries' interest in Africa is investment advisor Joseph Orji. Thank you so much for joining us, Joseph. That being said, Obama's first visit this term out of the country was to Israel. Would you consider the U.S. and China competitors when it comes to a trade relationship with China, with Africa?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I would, in specific regards. Number one, with regards to Africa's resources. That is, frankly, one of the things that many countries compete for. Africa is abundant in oil and other resources such as copper, tin, and so on and so forth. So yes, I would definitely say that America competes in that regard. Also, as Africa, many countries in Africa continue to do better, the GDP increases. So African consumption is also increasing. So many firms are trying to access that, and China has successfully been able to do that by importing certain goods into there, and they are certainly getting a foothold with regard to the African consumer. And I know America would want to do the same thing too as well. So I would definitely say that Africa and China compete in that regard.
Well, how does Africa view both of these competitors, so to speak? I mean, Barack Obama is considering a trip to Africa later this year, either to South Africa or even to Ethiopia for the AU summit next month. Does Africa view the U.S. as a partner?
I would say that Africa definitely welcomes the U.S. and welcomes China, frankly, for a couple of things. Africa is a developing country, so there are certain things that African countries need that they don't have yet, and they can access from the U.S. or from China. For instance, cheap capital. Having worked in Africa, I know how expensive capital is because it's not very abundant. So to the extent that Africa or China, America or China can supply African countries with cheap capital, that would definitely bode well for African countries. It would spark their economies and provide capital for businesses, which would definitely increase GDP. And also technical expertise. Many African countries, being developing countries, they lack technical expertise with regards to technology or the sciences. American companies can partner with African companies and to lend expertise in that regard, whether it's regarding transportation or some of the infrastructure that African countries are trying to build up. So those are certain very important parts that America can partner with Africa.
China has said this week, and Xi Jinping has said that he wants to elevate China's relationship with Africa, take things to the next level. What will the various countries inside Africa need to do to maintain a good working relationship? There is some unrest in some parts of Africa.
Sure. I would definitely say, number one, political stability is critical in order to continue to gain FDI from China. Also, transparency is also very important. I think that certain countries need a certain comfort level in order to invest in some of these countries. So I would say also that transparency is very important. And frankly, as I mentioned before, the growth of consumers and increased consumption. Outside countries need to see African countries continue to increase in their year-over-year GDP numbers, to have a certain comfort to say these countries, this continent is growing. This is a powerhouse. This is a player in the future, and we need to put money here to secure our future and the growth of our economy. So I think those are some of the critical things that China needs to see moving forward.
All right, Joseph Orji, we appreciate your insight and your time this evening.
Thank you.